Before Sam Leavitt can become an NFL franchise quarterback, he must develop in these key areas.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I'm Damian, Parson. That's Keith Sanchez. And on today's episode, we take Sam Leavitt, former Arizona State quarterback, now LSU quarterback, underneath the summer scouting lens. We're going to explain our summer grades for him heading into the 2026 college football season. We're going to give you our concerns coming off of the 2025 college football tape. But we're going to kick the show off with the pros. Keith, 6'2", about 205. I think the best way I would describe Sam Leavitt is helter-skelter. This is a agent of chaos, and that can go both good and bad. When you look at his tape, what were some of the good things that stood out to you for the new LSU quarterback?
Well, DP, you passed it to me first. I was hoping you went first, so I could see what direction you went with this. I think you did that on purpose, though. You was happy to kind of offload that one, real quick. But now let's get into it, man. You talked about the agent of chaos, right? And let's talk about what potentially chaos can bring you in a positive way. And that's one, athletic ability, right? It is clear watching him that this is an above average athlete at the quarterback position, right? He is a guy that can move. He can create things. You can call run plays for him, QB designed run plays for him, and he can execute it, right? And using that athletic ability also to escape the pocket, right? Create, extend plays, create some of that chaos defensively, because when we talk about transitioning into the scramble drill, right? And if you didn't practice the scramble drill and defensive backs, knowing what receivers to attach to or whatever that may be, he can expose that part of your defense and make you give up explosive plays. And a large portion of that, of explosive plays for Sam Leavitt comes via that manner. And then the last thing, I thought that he was pretty decent throwing on a run. He's a guy that's comfortable doing it, and it's potentially because obviously running is a part of his game, so he has a lot of reps doing it, right? A lot of live bullets doing that portion of it. So I'm looking at that, DP, and I think a lot of his positive plays are centered around, I'll continue to use the word you use, the chaos that is pushed through his athleticism.
Yeah, no, I think you put that perfectly, because to me, his best plays come from broken plays where the rush is getting into the backfield. He senses it. He gets out. He creates with his legs, and he's agile as a mover in the pocket, but then on the move, and he does throw the ball well out of structure. He feels more comfortable. That's why I call him an agent of chaos. He feels more comfortable to me watching him on tape throwing out of the pocket and away from out of structure, right? Down there, we're gonna get into the downside of that, in the next segment. But he can make plays. The best way to put it, I think, Keith, is with Sam Leavitt at quarterback, no play is ever truly dead. Like he has the escapability, he has the agility in the pocket, he can make defenders miss, and then he can get out, and then he becomes an RPO in the sense of, hey, you got to make a decision. Are you gonna let me run? Are you going to stick to your man? If you stick to your man, I got enough speed to get 10, 15, even 20 yards down the field. I think he had one run early in the season. It was a lesser competition. I think he took it like 50, 60 yards, just hit the perimeter and let it burn, right? So you see that ability. I think his arm talent is good. I think he has a snappy throwing motion. The ball kind of pops off his arm at times, especially with some good velocity. Watching him throw the Jordan Tyson, again, we'll get into some, I think he's part of the reason why Jordan Tyson had some of those injuries, with just some of the throws and decisions. But I will say this, I like the arm flexibility. He's got a loose arm, so he can change, and he can, raise his arm slot. He can drop the arm slot. He can sidearm it. He can throw with his traditional motion. So you like to see guys that can, because especially with pressure, like in the NFL, you got a defensive lineman, hands up. If you can kind of peek aside him and then sidearm it to that crossing route, you can make that completion. But if you're unable to do that, it could create some difficult throwing lanes or create difficulty finding the throwing lanes, Keith. So looking at him, I think, good. There's raw physical tools with him. Like, and that's why I'm excited to see him with Lane Kiffin, because we've seen Lane Kiffin, honest to God, Lane Kiffin has a type. Like, he has a type at quarterback, and Sam Leavitt fits that type from Jackson Dart to Matt Corral, right? Like, we've seen it with Trinidad and Austin Simmons. He likes dual threat quarterbacks. Clearly, he likes dual threat quarterbacks. He likes guys that have arm talent and guys that can create on their own, right? Like, hey, if we block everybody but the free runner, do you have the mobility to make a play on your own? And every guy I named were able to do that. Trinidad, we saw that last year. Jackson, we saw that with him during Ole Miss, and we saw it as a rookie in the NFL. And Matt Corral was capable of it too. So Sam Leavitt's definitely capable of it. So Lane Kiffin has a type, and that's why I'm really thinking about it. I'm excited to see what he does with Sam Leavitt, because this could be that type of perfect pairing, Keith, of coach and QB, where Lane unlocks Sam Leavitt's entire game and skill set.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and I think every last one of those guys too, they have a different of certain amount. Let me say that, a certain amount of moxie to them, whether you like it or not, right? But they're very confident quarterbacks, and some, people could love them and it could be off-putting, right? Like with Jackson Dart, right? Some people like them, some people like, not too much. I think Trinidad is going to step into that his own lane, right? When he comes, as the full-time starter entering the season. Matt Corral, right, was well documented, who he was, that type of thing. I think is also that, and I heard, just rumbling, Sam Leavitt is a guy that's pretty forthcoming and being opinionated about his stuff, right? So we'll see how that goes. DP, I wanted to ask you, would you add the gamer tag to him, like as far like to describe him? And I think not so much this past season, but the year before, right? And I think that what drew a lot of excitement was the very end of the season. Remember Arizona State making it to the playoffs and then playing against Texas, and everybody believes what I think if Jordan Tyson was healthy, that they beat Texas. So do you think he's a big game? Like, would you add the gamer tag to him and say this is a guy that's willing to go all out in big time moments?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so. I think he's an aggressive player, and guys like that, like you talking about, from a dog standpoint, it's easy to say whoa than teach a passive dog to protect the house, right? Some dogs, it's just in their bloodline to be like, I sense something, you're not supposed to be here, I'll bite your face off, right? Like, it just is what it is. Some dogs just bred like that. It's in their blood. I do think he's a gamer, Keith, because, I mean, heck, you go back to this past season, he had to throw to Jordan Tyson where he's rolling to his left and he jump mans it and throws it to Tyson. I'm like, all right, I don't want you doing too much of that. But you just see that he'll put his body on the line. He'll run the ball. And he's one of those guys, too. He's not a big body to be running the football. But sometimes you see him, he wants to lower the shoulder and almost set the tone like, yeah, no, I'm not afraid of y'all. Like, I will do exactly what I need to do for my team, my offense, to move the ball and for us to win this game. So, yeah, I would put that gamer tag on. Yeah, like last season, his season was cut short to about, I think 7-8 games or something like that due to injuries and everything. And then the offseason was the offseason where he said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and transfer out. I mean, heck, you lost your best running back the year before. Then you lose Jordan Tyson and he's gone, and you lose your right tackle. I feel like he's like, yeah, no, I don't want to come back for my draft stock to have to deal with some uncertainty in key positions. And he goes to LSU where they brought in all of that. Receivers, they got the running game. They brought in Jordan Seaton, the left tackle, who we'll probably try to get a chance to talk about going into with summer scouting into the season and everything. I'm excited for Sam Leavitt in a positive way, because with all the raw physical tools, now if you can get him into an offense where he's just like playing free and loose, again, we've mentioned him a lot this week. There's a little bit of Bo Nix there, where it's like that agility, that athleticism, and if you just harness it and let him play free, that might be the best version of the quarterback that you will be able to get.
Yep, I agree with DP. Let's do this, man. We talked about the highlights, right? We talked about the pros, the best parts of Sam Leavitt's game. Let's talk about the concerns, right? Why should you be concerned about Sam Leavitt and the things that he needs to improve on? And DP, I'm gonna tell you this: you going first the next segment. You are not tossing it to me first. You get the rock, go straight to the hole. I'll stand and watch. You're going first in the next segment. So let's discuss that coming up next.
Support for today's episode comes from Square, the business platform that helps sellers become neighborhood favorites. Whether you're gearing up for a busy season or just trying to keep up with the everyday demand, Square helps keep your business running smoothly. From payments to online orders, inventory, staff, and more, all in one place so you can focus on your customers and not your to-do list. Square helps businesses simplify their day-to-day while still giving them room to grow. There's a place that I hit up near me all the time, and I always notice how fast and painless it is to pay. No fumbling, no waiting. That's Square. Square helps you run your business smoothly, bringing payments, operations, and insights together in one place so you're ready for whatever's next. Right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/LockedOnNFL. That's SQUARE.com/go/LockedOnNFL. Get started with Square and build a setup that works the way you do. Before we break down the concerns for LSU quarterback Sam Leavitt, get your daily fix of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast completely ad-free by joining the Everyday Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to us, your favorite NFL draft analysts, without the interruptions. Click the link in the show notes or go to lockedonnfldraft.supercast.com to claim your free trial today. Keith said, I got the ISO. He's throwing me the rock at the top of the key, guys, and I don't mind getting the bucket. That's for sure. Keith, talk about the concerns with Sam Leavitt. I talked about it. Helter-skelter, agent of chaos, and we painted the best way we could in the opening segment. Now let's kind of rip the Band-Aid off. Mm-hmm. This is a quarterback that does not thrive or flourish at all playing within structure. And with his backyardigan play style, we grew up in an age, Keith, where we played football wherever we could growing up. Like if it was playing street ball, we played in the streets with cars passing by. If it's playing in a random field, wherever we could play football, we played football, right? Growing up. And you play back, you always had that one quarterback who never really threw the ball when he was supposed to. He just wanted to run around and do his own. That's Sam Leavitt. That is 100% Sam Leavitt. He does not throw the ball with great timing and anticipation from a consistency standpoint. Again, the raw physical tools are there, but when you watch Sam Leavitt, he leaves you with the impression of, the questions like, what are you seeing? How quickly, what's your processing right now? I think that's one of my biggest concerns with him is I don't think he's a great processor of information, Keith. Well, I was watching the Mississippi State game, which, they lost that game. That was the game Mississippi State had the walk-off deep touchdown to Brennan Thompson.
Yeah, they lost 24-10.
Yes, they lost. Oh, yeah, they lost that game or whatever. And he had there was one point. So Mississippi State was taking away Jordan Tyson. That was evident.
I mean, I'm sorry, 24-20. I don't.
Yeah, 24-20.
Half the points.
That's all good. So they lost that game. They were not trying to let Jordan Tyson get free and be the reason that Mississippi State lost the game, Keith. And what ended up happening was I think they ran 4 verts. And so Jordan Tyson takes 2 or 3 defenders with him. The seam was wide open. And I'm looking at Sam. He looks at it, does not rip the throw, comes off of it, and then tries to make some throw to the right sideline from the left hash, and he throws it too high, incompletion. And I'm just like, you had an easy completion if you just layer this ball over the shallow defenders. Like those guys weren't deep downfield. They were 5 to 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. Layer that ball to the seam and let him go out and run and catch because they're taking away your number 1 wide receiver. So I'm just like the processing issue and just bailing clean pockets, the things that are concerns with him are things that will not allow you to be a starter in the NFL. Like you cannot bail clean pockets. Your offensive linemen are absolutely going to cuss you out and spaz out on you. Like, hey man, we blocking our butts off and you rolling out. Like that's not what's supposed to happen. Your OC's not going to have that. And your receivers need the football. So he's got to get better at processing, playing from the pocket, and just playing within structure, which again is why I'm really excited for him with Lane Kiffin. And there's no disrespect to Kenny Dillingham, one of the best coaches in college football, but we know Lane's offense is good for quarterbacks. And I think this is an offense that can kind of settle him down, Heck, Keith and Lane was in LSU last year. We're talking about Garrett Nussmeier, probably in a different light if he's healthy. You know what I mean? He doesn't go 6th, 7th round. He more than likely goes 2nd round. So I'm excited for Sam with Lane, but there's some legitimate concerns when it comes down to his game.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. There's legitimate concerns. And second time watching, I believe I watched him at the end of the season last year, and I was like, and this was coming off of the hype, DP. This was the playing Texas and Arizona State, and I was just like, okay, there's a lot there, right? And then watched him again, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if it was a regression thing, but when you leave stuff to where it can go left or right, there's a 50-50 chance your play style, then that means half the times it could go good, half the times it could go bad. And I think that's what you're seeing from the 2024 season to the 2025 season. Those erratic, sporadic, aggressive plays that were 50-50 shots, they went all your way in 2024. And 2025, they didn't, right? And so he has to raise his percentage of, I don't want to say percentage of success. That's not the right term I'm trying to utilize, but just raise that threshold of that, like raising the floor of where it can go good or bad, right? Like make sure that, raise it to this is 60, 65% good. And I think it shows in his completion percentage, DP. I want to say back-to-back years, he's been around 60, to be honest. Which is not great, right? You want to push that closer to 65, 70 completion percentage. And that's the 60. I think the 65 is still what quarterbacks, you're not even say that they're great, but just good. You know what I'm saying? So looking at that, I thought that was an issue in decision making. There were plenty of times where I just like it's past I call arm arrogance, right? To where you like, what, I can make this through. It's past arm arrogance. I don't know if you don't think the defenders can catch. I have no idea. And watching Sam, I was truly confused at times about what decisions he was making with the football, and that's being completely honest. Because there were times he was trying to fit the ball in the really tight windows. There was times where I thought he just flat out threw it to the defender, looked like. And so make the decision making, it has to improve. And then lastly, I'll say this. I don't know if you feel the same way. I thought his arm strength was good. I didn't think that it was great. I thought that it was solid. And so when you're talking about really driving that football down the field, and this is in context of people saying first round quarterback, top 3 quarterback in the class, things like that. I don't know if I've seen that part, DP. When you mix the decision making with the arm strength, right, being okay, and like you can't be one of those quarterbacks, right? Like Josh Allen, the Brett Favres, right? The guys that the Jay Cutlers of the world, the guys that just got the gunslinger mentality. That's because they could rip it, right? Like they can be late on reads and then throw that thing in 65 miles an hour and get it to where they need to get it to. If you don't have that type of arm strength, I can guarantee you it is not going to turn out the same way. Though that football is going to be going back the other way, and the defender's going to be holding on to it. So
I'm with you. I definitely I think his arm is good as well. I definitely don't think it's great. I think the short to intermediate, can he get some good velocity there? Yeah, he can execute it 100%. But down the field, I can't remember which game I was watching. His receiver one, I think it might have been a slot fade, had 2 steps on the guy, and there's no pressure, and he uncorks the long ball, and it died, and the receiver had to stop and work back to it. And I'm like, okay, is that? But then it's just consistency thing, and I'm hoping that definitely will be able to see against SEC competition. Is it you put too much air underneath it, or you just don't have the arm to actually get it there, right? Like I remember watching, and I think I brought this up before, studying Mac Jones when he came out of Bama, and I remember watching. I can't remember who they were playing. It was a night game. They're inside their own 10, pockets clean and perfect. Smitty, Slim Reaper, Devonta Smith beats his man one-on-one. Safety's not there. He smokes him off the line of scrimmage. He's got about 5 steps on him. Mac Jones gives this ball everything he has. The ball's underthrown by 5 yards, and it becomes a 50-50 ball. I'm like, that was the moment for me where I'm like, I'm out. Like, if a guy has about 5 yards of separation, and at the catch point, it becomes a 50-50 ball because you couldn't get it there, I'm out on you. I don't want you as my quarterback. I'm sorry. I can't do it. You know what I mean? And for Sam, that's why I kind of watching that play, I was like, Sam, can you just not get it there with enough power? Like, do you not have the power to pace that ball down the field 40, 50 yards on more of a line drive than a rainbow shot? Because Russell Wilson threw the moon ball, but Russ had a powerful arm to where even though it was high up there, it traveled a distance. Like it went to where he wanted it to go. If I'm throwing this 60 to the 1, it's hitting at the 1. And he's one of the best deep ball throwers, honestly, in my opinion, that we've seen in the NFL, like history. Like Russell was one of the best deep ball throwers. With Sam, I don't know. That's the thing I was in. I was like, is this an arm strength problem, or you don't know what trajectory you want to throw with? And then that raises up even more questions.
Yeah,
like
both of them need to be
neither one of them are good.
Like either one, either one.
Neither one of them are good.
Yep. So we'll see. But DP, let's do this, man. Let's drop the draft grade. Right? What would be our current draft grade for Sam Leavitt heading into the 2026 college football season and into the 2027 NFL draft? Almost got caught up there. Let's discuss that coming up next.
Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. Is all because of you. Explaining the grade, Keith, for LSU new quarterback with Lane Kiffin, Sam Leavitt. Right now, again, guys, this is just summer grades going into the college football season of where, if the draft were today, where would we draft them right now, Keith? Where would you draft a Sam Leavitt coming off of the 2025 tape?
Yeah, DP. Late third into fourth. And that's in my opinion, that's optimistic from what I was watching. And that's just being honest, right? That's balancing it. And so that's why I would take them late third into fourth. I think there are some in fourth round grade, I think, at the Draft Network, you use the term developmental traits. I think that's the perfect way to describe him, that there are developmental traits here attached to this quarterback. Now, the answer is, can you develop him? Will he develop himself? Will he accept the coaching and then be able to progress forward? But I couldn't make a case for him to be a first or second round quarterback based off of what I've seen from the 2024 season or the 2025 season.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Keith. I have him as a mid to late third and everything, Keith. I just alarming. Like the concerns are just so alarming when you're watching him. And again, guys, this is in context of what he did at Arizona State. Like that loose, that free bird play style. I'm gonna put the ball where I'm gonna throw test windows. I'm honest to God, Keith. Like I'm not no SEC homer. Like I spread love all over college football. But I know the SEC DBs you're gonna face.
You can say the SEC is the dominant.
I will not say. I'm not saying nothing like that.
LSU, DBU. You can say it. It's okay.
They put a lot of great NFL draft prospects into the league. I will not be on that homerism. I will not be a SEC homer, Keith. But you know what you're going to deal with over there, man. You're going to deal with some legitimate DBs. You're going to deal with some guys that, and honest to God, you're going to deal with that on your own team. Like, to be completely honest. So you better get those interceptions out the way in camp. You know what I mean? You got it with a 6'4" corner out there.
Yeah, Pickett.
You better get used to tight windows in practice, because when you're going up against, Bama has a second, Georgia, like you go up against the top teams in the SEC, you're gonna deal with that. Florida always has athletes. It's just up to the coach to develop these young men. The SEC's filled with talent. So right now, no. If the draft were today, definitely mid to late third. You know what I mean? Teetering on that early fourth, just like what you said, because it's so much that you have. You know what's funny? They talk about Drew Allen, and it was like we gotta strip him down to the studs. Well, Keith, if Sam Leavitt was a car, I don't know if I'm keeping any parts. I'm just I'll find I'm keep the body and everything else. I got to make brand new. Like I think that's why I'm excited for Lane Kiffin. I trust Lane as a coach to design this offense that's going to let Sam play Sam ball and not to the helter-skelter bailing. I feel like Lane Kiffin's going to coach him up the right way, but hey, we can't have that. Like, you know what I mean? You try. This ain't the Big 12 where you're dealing with undersized defensive ends. This is the SEC. You're going to deal with some dudes who could chase you down, and there's 270 pounds, right? Like you're going to deal with guys We've seen teams be able to harness and keep Jalen Milroe in the pocket. And he's probably a 4-3 athlete, man. Like, so with a bigger arm. So yeah, no, you're going to have to be able to play within the pocket, hit these quick concepts, whether it's whatever quick concept you run, a spot, whatever, man, slant flats, whatever. You got to make the right reads. You got to read it quickly, diagnose it, and get the ball out. Like, play on time, Sam. That's what I want to see from him, because physically there's a lot to like there. The mobility, the agility. He's got a good arm. Also, maybe bulk him up a little bit. You know what I mean? Because again, with that frame, you can't run around the SEC like that and get hit in open field. Like what happened to Ty Simpson against Indiana. He thought everything was sweet. Instead of sliding, I'm a tough guy. Got his ribs cracked and his ribs cracked. And I'm like, Ty, you probably should have just slid. Like, I know D'Angelo Pons is 5'9", but brother, he's pretty strong. He's a muscle bound dude. Like, he lifts weights. You can't take clean shots as a quarterback no more, man. This is not the day and age for it, especially when you're not built for it. So I don't know, Keith. It's he's an interesting case study. Like, because I think I came on here last year when we talked to him. I was like, he's an agent of chaos. Like, you know, that was coming off his good season, right? And he was still didn't throw for 3,000 yards in 2024. He threw for like 2,500 or whatever it was. Like, he didn't have like some remarkable season. So LSU fans, don't get mad at us. Just letting y'all know. It's just a lot that he, from a draft standpoint, he has a great play style for college. We're talking about NFL draft here. Yeah, I don't, you know, I value the tools. I need to see him play cleaner, Keith. Like, it has to happen. Like, and if you can't do it this year, then when? Like, that's going to be my next question.
Yeah, no, I think a large portion of this is going to come down to, like you said, coaching staff, right? And being able to tell them this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, right? Because there's a certain level when you're talking about being in these big time games, right? There's a certain level to where, you know what, you're hurting us, right? And you don't want him to get to that capacity. I'm talking about hurting us like with turnovers and interceptions and things like that. And like I said, it's really just about moving that needle from 50-50 good, bad to moving it to 75%.
60-40, 75,
something
25,
like that, right? Just moving that needle up.
Because Steve, what was the last Arizona State quarterback that went to LSU? It was Jaden Daniels, right? Yeah. And Jaden Daniels had a lot of question marks coming to LSU. Like, we know you're explosive. We know you're fast. Can you withstand the SEC? And 2 years, he won the Heisman. He was a top 3 pick in the draft, right? Looks like a franchise quarterback when healthy for the Washington Commanders. Sam Leavitt can absolutely come in, fix his game in 1 year, and like we talked about, be a Heisman contender. Because not now at Arizona State, you had one receiver that you truly had to get the ball to. Like what Lane Kiffin has done for LSU, bringing in Jace Brown and all these receivers, and you got Trey'Dez Green at 6'7" as an athletic kind of Kyle Pitts, maybe like tight end. Cade Durham, like the run game is going to be really good for you. Brought in Jordan Seaton to help the offensive line. This is a year where I'm like, Sam, run the offense. When you have to be the guy and move around and be creative, do that. Keith, this is a team with the coaching staff. Sam does not have to be a hero every game. He does not have to be the hero every single week. And I think that LSU's defensive should be pretty good too. Yeah, no, unless you're in some 45-42 slugfest and offensive just shootout, cool. But this is a team where you have enough help around you that you just need to go and do your job and run the offense. There's going to be games you just manage it. Just manage it. Don't get that itch like the Green Goblin mask off of Spider-Man telling you to do some wild-ish. Don't do it. Like, don't listen to the mask. Like, just like, you know what? I'm going to check it down. I'm not throwing it into that double coverage. I'm going to take my wins, and we're going to keep matriculating the ball down the field.
Yep, I agree. With DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On the next episode of Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, we have more quarterbacks going underneath the summer scouting lens. I got to stick right here in my home state, Keith. Lenore Sellers, the guy that's the biggest enigma and X factor of this draft, that if he hits, He might be QB1. We're going to talk about him and what we saw on tape from 2025 with the Gamecocks, and was it a good decision to go back? We'll talk about that on the next episode of Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. So, guys, come and join the conversation again tomorrow. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.